Sober Redditors, what do you say when people ask you why you don't drink? I used to drink. Heavy binges throughout college. Usual nightly drinks as an adult with monthly binges too. I had a Michelob Ultra in the afternoon about 6 months ago and woke up feeling like absolute trash. Vow then and there, no more alcohol. When people ask, my standard answer is I've probably drank enough for several lifetimes and I really don't like feeling like crap the next day. Honestly, never really enjoyed drinking. Did it mostly out of peer pressure and because I didn't think about childhood trauma while hammered. But, I was able to get closer and I'm a lot better now. I am 29 and can count the sips of alcohol I've had on one hand. I usually tell people I've lived with a number of alcoholics and am uncomfortable with the possibility of being so out of control of myself, but I also mention that I was raised in a family where most adults didn't drink, so it seemed normal to me till I turned 18 and my peers began drinking and pressuring me. I've had friends, exes and coworkers try and sneak alcohol into whatever I was drinking, or really heavily guilt me about it. Very few people just accept that you don't want to drink. I'm not entirely sober. I drink very occasionally on some social settings. I often go without for months or even a year though. I used to drink more, and I wasn't crazy about it and just decided to quit while I was ahead, since many of my friends I was drinking with were already full-blown alcoholics. Going out with them had stopped being fun, it was just about being shit-faced. However, while I generally don't drink, it's not like I won't every now and then, and I didn't struggle with addiction or had any trouble quitting. If someone hasn't yet learned why they shouldn't ask that question, they will get a taste of the discomfort of an honest answer from me. Then hopefully they won't ask people that question anymore. I tell them my mom was a severe alcoholic and I never want to do to my family what my mom did to our family. I have no issues with someone being uncomfortable with hearing that answer because they should know why they shouldn't ask people that. If the answer makes them uncomfortable, that's their fault. Originally I gave an honest answer: alcoholism runs in my family and I found I was only drinking to get drunk, which was a major warning sign of impending alcohol addiction, so I stopped. But I found that made too many people worried about drinking in front of me and they would start feeling awkward. So since my lack of drinking caused me to always be the designated driver, I switched to just telling people I'm the driver. No one cares when the designated driver isn't drinking. I usually just say that I don't drink. If people inquire and it seems genuine, then I might say that I stopped when my kids were born for money and behavioral purposes. If someone is mocking about it, then I tell them the other reason, which is that my dad was an alcoholic and it killed him, so it kind of put me off. Really it's a combination of both, plus I was a very rowdy drunk when I was younger and that's no bueno when you're a grown-up with mouths to feed. I kinda chuckle and say because it's literally poison, and I choose to not deliberately put poison in my body. If you want, I can recommend all sorts of podcasts with neuroscientist Andrew Huberman that explain the detrimental effects of drinking, then maybe you'll reconsider too. I have never been peer pressured by others to drink. If someone made fun of me for not wanting to drink, I'd find it hilarious. Keep killing your body, mate, I'm going for a run. Most people don't ask. But I haven't gotten to the point of passing out, or throwing up, in decades now. My dad was an alcoholic, as was my brother. Both made stupid choices because of their drinking and lost their families when their wives didn't want to deal with it anymore. I very simply chose not to be my dad, or brother. I know I am predisposed to having an addiction problem. I may mind going to the gym and wiping myself out 4 days a week. For most people, I say I have health issues that prevents drinking, which is true. For people that persist beyond that, I tell them I have end-stage cirrhosis, if I drink I will die. That usually gets people to stop asking. But sometimes they do push further, and in those cases I tell them that I'm not comfortable going into the gory details of my past problems. It was bad, I got sober, that's it. British male, early 30s, father of 2. I choose not to drink for various minor mental and physical health reasons. Perfectly comfortable sharing my reasoning with close friends and family, but just not everyone and their mother. I'm aware I don't owe anyone an explanation, but don't want to be rude, looking for good ways to move the conversation along. What are your go-to answers? Depends on how close they are to me. If they're close enough, I tell them the truth. If they're not, I tell them half the truth, which is I don't really like it, and if they keep persisting, I'll say I'm on meds and they don't like alcohol. Or I tell people I'm allergic, which is technically true, as anything like moonshine or close to isopropyl alcohol would kill me if I drank them. I have to say, as the adult child of a recovering alcoholic, I've never once asked someone why they didn't drink. Maybe it's because of my own history, or it just never occurs to me to ask. It's like asking someone when they are having kids. Maybe they can't or don't want to. Either answer is acceptable, of course, but we don't need to ask. I think alcohol is nasty. All of it. Beer, wine, fruity drinks. I hate the taste of it completely and would need a hell of a lot of cranberry juice to completely cover the flavor. Also, I rushed to the toilet from just one drink with some diarrhea, so what happened there, but I expected to at least get a little tipsy and still didn't. Don't like the taste. Don't like the way it makes me feel when I drink it. Don't like what it does to my wallet. Don't like it when it makes me feel after I drink it. Don't like what it makes me feel like the next day. And I don't give two shits if it makes you feel like you're having more fun when I drink it. I just don't like it. I simply say that I don't drink. Sometimes I'm asked why I don't drink. I respond by asking them why they do drink. Generally it's answered with to relax, to have fun, chill me out, it's social. Well, I can do all of those things and I don't need alcohol to do it. But most of the time, simply saying I don't drink is enough. Got caught fucking a platypus in the mountains of Kentucky. My Uncle Debbie was fingering my bum, while my dad was making moonshine and pissing in my uncle's butt. The darn IRS agents rolled in and started playing the male organ and all of us had an orgy with a 12-point buck. After that it'll make anyone want to stop drinking. I simply tell them I don't want to. If they keep persisting, I'll make up a mess-up story about how my dad would get drunk and beat up my mom, which drove me to drink heavily in high school, which resulted in a vehicle accident where I killed a kid. Now I'm sober and gave my life to the Lord. That usually shuts them up for a while. Alcohol is a poison. If I ever want to ingest some poison, I'll get a meal in KFC. You know, I'm 28 years old and never tried. Kinda too late to start. Yeah, no. Drunk Wayland is a creature that must be kept at bay at any cost. I have no idea how being drunk affects me. And I really don't want to do some dumb shit. I generally tell me the truth. I come from generations of alcoholics who all said they weren't going to be like their prior generation and it was all bullshit. They all drank themselves to death. So, I don't drink because if my family history is any indicator, the moment I touch the stuff, I won't stop until my last breath. My brother was nearly dying in the hospital with liver cirrhosis, and I'd rather not go down the same road. There. That's it. Seeing some big strong man reduced to a shadow of his former self, yeah, fuck that. He partially recovered, and is now in intensive rehab and doing great, but that left a lasting impression. First response. I just don't like the taste. Second response, if they push it. I've been sober for 10 years. At this point they'll get very embarrassed and backpedal and apologize. They'll say they didn't know, and I'll respond with, didn't know what? I don't drink, ever, so I've always been sober. I'd climb a humorless teetotaler who thinks some shit matters. How about when I can't be very smart I feel good about being sober? Or there were no good artists, musicians, nor philosophers in the history of man who didn't drink, but being sober makes me feel better about being intrinsically worthless. BC was a fully functional alcoholic for a few years. Always on time, great shape, conscientious worker and good friend. Until someone made a joke and a huge amount of PPL around the exchange laughed uproariously. From insane amounts of alcohol to 1-2 drinks only when socially called for. Stayed that way. I never liked it much to begin with. I had some fun drunken nights from 1920, but after I turned 21 I just didn't really care to. I was kinda over it after that. I was raised to be against consuming any alcohol because of my family's deep history of alcoholism on both sides, so that's probably why. Because I eat Lowell's more money for food, then say can't risk losing license out here in the mids and sticks. The buses arrive every 40 minutes if at all or all at once. Lastly, if they delve deeper, meat or fancy the taste, really these are all true and in correct order too. Food license then taste wise. I'm a designated driver. Unfortunately for me it's invalid in Vegas as there are taxis and ride shares everywhere. So then I'll drink and end up doing stupid things like dancing or talking to girls at the club. Then I wake up feeling sick. I don't like feeling sick after drinking. I used to have a problem with drinking, so I stopped 9 years ago. But honestly, I don't get asked why very often at all. It's usually just an offer of beverage. I say I don't drink, someone says oh that's so cool or something along the same lines, and we move on. I have a drink or two per year because it's a waste of money and most drinks taste awful. Literally no one ever asks. I feel like I see this type of question all the time, and my question is, what kind of idiot alcoholics do you all hang around that you're getting asked? I don't drink for religious reasons, but it also just doesn't interest me. I've survived 40 years without alcohol, why start now? I usually lead with it doesn't appeal to me and it doesn't get pushed farther very often. When it does, I bring up religion as my fallback. I was a bartender in a nice hotel back in my 20s, and one night one of the waitresses asked me if I was an alcoholic because I never drank. Nope, just didn't like the taste and I was always more of a pothead, as well as dabbling in other recreational drugs than alcohol. Before 2020 I had no interest whatsoever in trying it. After 2020 I'm on medication, probably not the best idea. Note I have never asked my doctors if it's okay to have alcohol with the medication I'm on and I won't ever cause there's no point in knowing. For me just taking a little break for now usually ends to the conversation, and everyone goes back to what they were doing. I've noticed if you say something that suggests it might be bad it can set people on edge, and they might even start pressuring you. I tell them I used to drink and I stopped for my health. One person asked, "Are you sober not drinking or today not drinking?" And I was honest, I'm 9 years sober. She was a super sweet lady who took a genuine interest, so I found no reason to be offended. I don't know if I fall into this because I wasn't having addiction issues, but I just decided not to drink anymore about a year ago. When people ask me why, I just say I don't like it anymore. If they press, I just reiterate I just don't like it anymore. I usually say I am extremely lightweight and one drink is enough for me to not feel like myself anymore. If they persist after that explanation, I ask them why is it important for them that I'm not in control of my actions. That usually shuts them up,